Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, we will learn about positioning HTML elements. CSS provides us with following position values: static, relative, absolute, fixed, and sticky. Let's try the first one. Static is the default value for HTML elements. Whether we declare it or not, elements are positioned in normal order on the web page. Let's try an example to understand it better. Say we've got this image here, so let's try giving it position static. So let's bring up our code editor. Okay, so we've already got an ID for the image, mountain image. So coming here, let's try changing the position. Say position static. Let's save it, and as you can see, nothing changes. Let's try giving it top bottom values. So let's say top 16 pixels, or let's say 100 pixels. Let's try giving it a left value, say 100 pixels. And as you can see, these values aren't affecting our element and it is positioned in the normal order. Moving on to the next one, which is position relative. It positions HTML elements relative to their normal position. Making an HTML element relative gives you access to move the element from its normal position by using top, right, bottom, and left properties. Let's try an example to understand it better. Say you have this image and this image is wrapped in a div. So if you open the code, so we've got an image wrapped in a div. Let's try giving this a position relative. So let's remove these values and let's give it position relative. Let's save it. As you can see, nothing changes by default. But to move this image, you will have to use the top, right, bottom, and left property. And before we do that, let's change the dimensions of the div to completely wrap the image. Think of it like it represents the original position of the image. So the width and height is 300 pixels. So let's change the same for wrapper. So 300 pixels and height 300 pixels. It has got a padding top, so let's remove that. Let's add some margin on the top, say 80 pixels. And let's add some margin on the left, say 80 pixels. Let's save it. Now our div is like completely behind the image. So let's give a top value to our image. So top, say 16 pixels. And as you can see, the image moved 16 pixels from the top edge. Let's try increasing the value, say 36 pixels. And as you can see, image moved more towards the bottom. So it is 36 pixels from the top edge. Similarly, let's try right. So let's say 10 pixels. And as you can see, so image is now 10 pixels away from the right edge. Let's try increasing the value, say 32. And it is more away from the right edge. Let's try a negative value. First, let's bring it to 0. So now it's like perfectly on the right edge. So if we give a negative value, say minus 16 pixels, it moves towards the right. So it's going in the negative direction of our right edge. And that's how you use this position relative to move the element from its original position. So as you can see here on the top bar, we've got these menu items and they don't seem in the center vertically. Normally to move it down, we could have used margin top and padding bottom, but it wouldn't work here because these are inline elements. So let's try that first. So this is the class for menu item. So let's try giving a margin top, say 30 pixels. And as you can see, it's still in the same position. Let's try giving it a padding top, say 30 pixels. And again, no difference. So to move them around, we can use the position relative and then use the top property to move it towards the top. Let's try that. Say position relative. Let's save it. Now, let's say top 0. It's in the same position. Let's try giving it a negative value to top so that it moves towards the top edge. So let's say minus 16 pixels. Okay, it went a little too much. So let's try minus 10. Let's try minus 8, minus 5, and that looks much better. Alright, so moving on to the next one, which is position absolute. It positions the HTML element relative to the first parent element that has a position other than static. Let's try an example to understand it better. Say you have this image wrapped in a div. Let's make the parent div as position relative. So this wrapper is a parent div, so let's do position relative. And let's give this image position absolute. So position and absolute. Let's save it. Let's try giving it a value, say top 0. Let's save it. And as you can see, the image moves to the top edge of the parent div. Similarly, if we give another value, say left 20 pixels and save it, it starts at the 20 pixels from the left edge of the parent div. Say we want this on the right hand side, so we could do something like this. So right 0, and as you can see here, now it's on the top right corner. Similarly, say we wanted to move it to the bottom right corner, we could do something like this. Instead of top, we can use bottom. And now as you can see, it is on the bottom right corner of the parent div. So as I mentioned earlier, this absolute position element is relative to the first parent element that has position other than static. So let's say none of the parents have position static. So in that case, it is position relative to the main HTML element. So let's try removing this position relative. Let's bring it back to the top left corner. Let's save it. And now as you can see, it's on the top left corner of our web page. But if you notice, it's coming on top of our top bar. So far we have worked with X and Y axis. So basically we have moved elements left, right, top and bottom, but we haven't moved elements in and out, or in other words, vertical to the plane of our screen. For this purpose, we can use another property called z-index. This z-index property can only be used when position has a value other than static. Now to avoid this overlay, give our top bar a higher z-index. So let's bring up our code editor. So this is our top bar. Let's say z-index 10. Let's save it. And nothing changes because z-index works on position values other than static. So let's change that. Let's say position relative. And now as you can see, our image is below the top bar. That's all for today, guys. If there's something that you did not understand, feel free to drop a comment and we will discuss it. See you in the next video. Bye and take care.